4 is the calling out of the militia, which the mayor has the right to, as commander-in-chief, with the authority of the governor, to call out the militia. Again, this is very historic, rooted in sort of older times. Mayor has the right to examine books and records of the village at any time. The mayor may fix seals, so on and so forth, and veto, and the mayor serves as liquor commissioner. So that's sort of a basic outline of what's in the state statute. And I will tell you, the state statute is fairly sparse. It doesn't lay out a lot of specifics, but it does provide that by ordinance, the village can elaborate on those. So what we do in the ordinance is we mimic, some of what's in the state statute, provide that the president's the chief executive officer, perform those duties that are required of him by the statute and/or our ordinances. And we do provide for supervision of all executive officers. Whenever there's a question of respective duties, the mayor historically has been the one who would determine that dispute. But again, we're going back to the historical when the mayor served as the chief executive officer and ran all of the functions of the village and managed all of the personnel at the village. So that sentence basically encompasses that concept. Village president would be the presiding officer. This is, again, our ordinances now. Presiding officer at regular and special meetings. Number 4, identify that they can remove officers as provided by statute. Examine the books and records, again, just sort of mimicking what's in the state statute. May veto ordinances and resolutions and serves as the liquor commissioner. I see that what I've handed out may have a page missing. Oh my gosh, I apologize for that.
Which page is it?
The one that describes the administrator's duties. Here it is, I have it. I apologize, I can make a copy of this. And
I'll make some copies while you're talking.
okay, do you do all of yours have a village administrator's duties page?
No.
Sorry about that. I guess I should look more carefully at these packets as they're prepared in my office. Let me go over the village administrator's duties as Tim is making copies. Village administrator's duties now, as defined by our ordinance, are pretty broad. Provide for general administrative and financial management, support to the president, to the board of trustees, report to and receive input and direction from the corporate authorities, meet with the village president on a day-to-day basis as needed to fill the president in on what's going on, interpret issues of village policy, serve as the personnel administrator, direct and supervise all staff, attend the village board meetings as needed, consult with the village president, give reports and updates on all projects, responsible for day-to-day selection of key personnel with the advice and consent of the corporate authorities, at least on the key personnel, oversee generally all departments, all outsourced activities and functions, responsible for planning, organizing, and reviewing, coordinating financial development, general management activities, serve as a liaison between the village and other governmental agencies and between village departments, report such activities to the mayor, to the village board. It's a pretty comprehensive list. It's basically what you would see for a chief executive officer managing all the day-to-day operations of the village. Develop programs, program changes, review and determine priorities. Schedule priorities. Responsible for seeing that the budget is implemented. Serve as the personnel administrator, director, and supervise all activities of staff. Perform other duties as necessary. These are pulled out of and are termed exactly as it is in our personnel policy. And this is just, this doesn't even cover everything. I mean, there is more in there if you want to compare this with the actual state statute, but it gives you the flavor that they're basically the chief executive officer. And you can see that those duties can be considered right now not necessarily in harmony with the duties of the mayor. You don't really have two people directing. Generally, you don't have two people directing the key staff. You don't have two people monitoring the staff and who the staff reports to. And I think the concept of creating the village administrator was that the mayor, as the representative of the village, would work closely and meet day to day with the village administrator. But the village administrator would be the one that ultimately directs staff, assigns the projects. You know, if there's a discipline issue, goes through the discipline issue. Certainly, though, and so that's the conflict. The conflict right now we basically have two positions that arguably represent a chief executive position. And I think the design was to have the mayor's office be more a chairman of the board concept, have direction and input with regard to the village administrator, but have less as you go down the organizational chart. And we've gone through the exercise of reviewing the organizational chart. I have provided in the memo some suggestions with regard to additional duties for the mayor. The mayor should act for and on behalf of the village at all formal occasions, receptions and other activities. That's a little bit more ceremonial. I think there's meatier things that the village mayor will also be required to do. He can also designate other people to do that. I think the village president should meet with the village administrator as frequently as needed in the discretion of the village mayor. And as part of the corporate authorities, the mayor should participate in performing reviews and setting the compensation. And he does that as his role as part of the corporate authorities. Provide input to the village administrator on staffing issues. I mean, the village mayor is going to be the one that's on site and can observe what's going on with regard to the staff and can provide input to the village administrator in that regard. And I think number 3 talks about providing input on a day-to-day basis. Another one that I've seen in other ordinances, often when a developer or either is new to town or developers here, they want to talk directly with the mayor about a project. I think the mayor should have the authority to meet with. I mean, meet with, talk about a project, negotiate preliminarily in terms of things that need to be done, but then should bring that information back, advise the board, at least in general terms, as to what's going on, and let the village administrator know, so that the village administrator can then create action items that the staff can move forward with. So I think what you've got, what I would suggest is we take the 3 basic sentences or 4 basic sentences that are in the mayor's duties now, create an ordinance that is, 1, varies the 2 positions, has them be complementary to one another, has them be more reflective of the organizational structure that you've set up, empower the mayor to do more broader duties, and have more involvement in not only internal areas but external areas, and work with the corporate authorities. So I guess well, let me stop there and say if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those questions now, or if there's any input.
You stated that one of the key differences is the fact that since we've created the administrator form of governance, that one of the things that crisscrosses is who directs staff. Okay. Are we going to write into ordinance language that would have the village administrator directing staff with the concurrence of the village president? Is that what you're speaking of?
Well, I think you need to recognize the fact that the village administrator has been that are provided to the village administrator, then it would seem to me appropriate if we write it into the village mayor's duties that the mayor receive a copy of those reports. Let the mayor see what's going on and know what's going on. You should try and avoid a situation where a trustee calls and says, Mayor, I understand we're doing X, Y, and Z, and the mayor says, I don't know what you're talking about. Or a developer calls and says, you know, here's what we're doing in some situation. The mayor says, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. I mean, I think there needs to be an appreciation and an understanding that the mayor needs to be informed. But on the other hand, because of the nature of the mayor's office, and what I mean by that is you're electing a new person you're electing a person every 4 years. Frequently that would be a new person. You're going to be in a situation where the person you elect may not have the management skills that are necessary to operate a $6 million business. They may or they may not. They may not have the desire to have the hand, you know, some people have a greater desire to have more of a hands-on approach, some have less. That's the reason that we went to a system where we hire a village administrator and we provide in the job description that the village administrator needs to have a college degree and a master's degree in public administration and have X number of years experience. And we're fortunate enough to have someone who's got 10 or however many years Jim has. I think it's more than 10 years experience. So you have a professional running the village. Then the mayor who gets elected, who may or may not come with a background appropriate for actually operating and running the village. I mean, they got elected, so they have ability. They have ability to communicate. They have ability to convince people to vote for them. But it doesn't necessarily mean they should be running day-to-day operation of the village. That we have put on the shoulders of the village administrator. But I think the mayor needs to be constantly advised as to what's going on and have a close relationship with the village administrator. Now, beyond that, I think the mayor needs to be the ambassador of Chesney Park out in the region and doing the things that need to be done to keep our name out there and good programs that we have at the forefront of what's going on in the region. So I would look forward to the opportunity to try and put something together that sort of expands on those concepts and describes the mayor's duties. And that would be the next step, is to put something together. And I know the mayor and I have talked on a number of occasions. He's said he wants to see that done. I know he wants me to provide him with, I can get that out to you fairly quickly. Based on the research I've done, it's pretty much written itself and it's ready to go. I know the mayor wants to take a look at it maybe before I go out to you guys, but that's the next step. And then I think once we get that done, once we get the mayor's new duties in place, we will have sort of closed the loop and completed what is a pretty decent overhaul of the way we do things around here.
Any other questions?
Maybe to your timetable a little bit, if I could. I'm assuming that we are going to get a sort of rough draft of this ASAP that we can kind of look over with all the new duties described, and so that we can take action. I mean, I guess in the interest of expediency, we've been on this a long time. I'd like to move it along as possibly rapidly as we can, and I'd like to see what your suggestions are. If we can all get a rough draft of that and take a look at that, I'd appreciate it very much as soon as possible.